welcome to today's video. I'm Kasey and this is Greg. And in today's haircut update, my bowl cut is growing out nicely to look like a combination of Justin Bieber and the melon head cat. It's great. But enough about me. In today's video, I'm going to be painting these goopy, drippy canvases that I think look pretty cool. Now, I painted these 2 years ago alongside like 4 others, and I got kind of scared of ruining them, so I left them as a drippy, goopy pop of color on my wall, and I like them. So we're going to create new ones. Now for these, I used a very thick application of acrylic paint to create these goops, but in today's video, I want to use the cardboard I used for these for all of the goops, and we're going to see how they turn out. We're going to paint like a character or something on them. It's going to be fun and goopy and drippy. So let's get into it. First things first, before we get painting, we have to create these goopy, drippy canvases, and oh boy, it's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, but I was pretty excited. First off, I have to cut all of the cardboard drips. Thankfully, I like to hoard and keep lots of crafty things that I can use in the future, so what I'm using is actually the backing of a pad of paper. Say you go to the store and you buy a pad of watercolor paper. The back of it is a nice sturdy piece of chipboard. Very useful. I use them for a lot of different things, including projects like this. So I cut them up in different sizes. We have 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and 2-inch pieces. I cut them all in very long strips. These are absolutely too long, but I will be cutting them down to different sizes depending on what I want and what I need for my pieces. So we have our variety of cut long pieces, and now I am rounding out all of the edges. I want them to look like smooth, goopy, drippy pieces, and that's not sharp and pointy. So I round them out. All of our drips and goops are cut, and now it is time to start arranging all of our pieces on our canvas. Now at this point, I'm just arranging the drips and the goops where I think they look nice and how I want them to fall off of the canvas, and just gluing them on with an excessive amount of glue because I do not want these pieces to fall off. That would be very sad. Now at this point, after I've already glued all the pieces on, I realized it probably would have been more helpful had I sketched out my art pieces first and then put the goops on top of the sketch. That way, instead of working around the goops and the drips, I'm working around my drawing, which I think would probably be the main focus of the piece. But you know what? It's an added challenge. We're going with it. So in my original pieces, like I showed you, I used a very thick application of acrylic paint to create the gradient from the cardboard piece onto the canvas to attempt to make it look smooth. This time around, I thought I would try to use some air dry clay. I thought it would be a lot easier because it is a solid piece that I can shape and form to what I want it to be. However, I am super inexperienced with all sorts of clay. I've played around with clay in the past, but I am so bad with clay, and I tried to smooth it out the best I could. It was very chunky. I tried to add a lot of water to turn it into a much easier to form paste. That went okay. I used my tools, I used fingers, water, I sanded it down. And at the end of the day, I just thought, you know what, if I add a lot of texture to my painting, maybe you can't see how lumpy it is. We'll see. I sprayed on a white base coat on top of the cardboard just to make sure it was easiest to paint on. And I did regret that because it was very stinky. Let me tell you, I do not like spray paint. It stinks. It stinks so bad. But either way, our drippy goopy canvi, that is, I just kind of said that so naturally, like that was a word. Our canvases are prepped and ready to go, so now it's time to start creating our drippy goopy paintings. I'm very excited. Going into our first piece, I was really nervous. I wasn't sure how I wanted the goops to actually affect the art, but I knew I wanted to go bold, shapely, and simple. Thankfully, that is what my art is all about, so I was nervous, but I knew my art would make this really easy to work around. So I did approach the goops in a way that affected the art and made it dripping, but I just wasn't in love with the effect of the art looking like it was melting. So what I did was I focused on the goops overlapping the art and maybe stretching pieces of the art or moving pieces of the art. And once I got the sketch somewhere that I liked, I jumped into it. I'm working with acrylic gouache, so it's very opaque and easy to paint over pencil. So I put down my design on the canvas easy and painted directly over it, starting with the background. I focused on simple shapes for the background. I think this way we can just focus on the cat and the goops and what it is doing to our character. Going into the piece, I felt like the circles weren't enough, but at the same time, I was so overwhelmed with how the drips were affecting the art that I was taking it slow. In the end, I absolutely love the circles. They add just a little bit of color, nothing crazy, and it kept the focus on our kitty, which I am super excited and happy with how the cat turned out. Originally, I painted all 3 of the drips coming off of the canvas blue because I was thinking this could add a fun 3D effect. Obviously, it is 3D in the sense that it is coming off of the canvas, but maybe the paint is behind the cat, the blue paint, and it's dripping behind the cat off of the back of the canvas. But I really like the idea of everything that touched the bottom of the canvas was the color of the drip, and I kind of like the idea of having multiple color drips. I think in the end, having the middle drip where the cat is orange really helps sell the idea that the dripping is coming off of the cat. When it was blue, sure, it kind of looked like it made the cat 3D and the blue was behind the cat, but I think orange was definitely the better choice. After I had the basic shape of the cat down, I just wanted to add some textures here and there. I dry brushed some dark orange stripes on our kitty, and look how smooth the border of the cat is. After I put the textured stripes on, I painted over with blue to smooth out the edges, and it looks so nice. I also went through and added some fake textured brush strokes around our cat. It was just a little too smooth and simple for me, and just going through and adding some textured edges to our cat really helped, I think, make it fun. I don't know. It also kind of made me feel like a fake artist. It actually reminds me a lot of digital art. Okay, wait. That sounded really bad. I'm not calling digital artists fake. Let me explain. When you do digital art, there's a lot of paint brushes that are textured to look like they are actually on canvas, when in reality, you're doing digital art. It's just pixels and you're mimicking the texture of canvas. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm just going through and adding the texture of the paintbrush as if that's how I painted the paint on, when in reality, I'm just adding some fun texture in there. Obviously, the focus of this particular piece is the goopy eyes of the cat. That was my focus. I think it turned out really nice. Instead of looking at this piece as if it is actually melting, I approached it in a way where each individual goopy, drippy piece does its own thing and interacts with the character in different ways. For example, as you can see, the eyeball is just one big goop stretching all the way down the canvas, which I gotta say, it kind of looks like bird poo, which I find kind of funny. Whereas the drip on the right seems like it picked up the painting and just sort of shifted it down a little bit. Then we have the drips on the left side, which are just the background dripping over our cat. Does it make sense? No. But is it fun? Absolutely. And I really like this piece. I think it turned out really cool. For our second piece, I wanted to try to go a little bit bigger. We did a big picture of a cat, and this time I wanted to try a background. Again, I was very nervous, but there were aspects that I wanted to use from our character piece into a background piece. So again, I kept it simple, but I was excited. The focus on this piece was going to be some cats in the foreground. In the background, I was going to have some clouds with some dripping, colorful, goopy pieces. And I think mostly I was just really looking forward to experimenting with different textures and different patterns overlapping each other and just seeing how that looked. If it looked like poo, great, I won't do it again. If it looked good, great, I'll do it again on another piece. I started off with this piece by mixing far too little paint for our sky, so I was very nervous about that, but it did inspire me to put a lot of stars into the sky later on, so you won't even see that there's texture. I also really enjoyed the texture of the dry brushing I added on my previous piece, so as I painted each aspect of this piece, I also dry brushed the edges and added a lot of texture. I think it looks really cool. I like it. Oh, I should probably mention that I decided to approach this piece in black and white. Originally, I was going to make this a full color piece, blue sky, green grass, but because our previous piece was so colorful already, and I'm always thinking about decorating my black and white bathroom, I've done a whole video where I made a mobile piece for my bathroom. Black and white art with a hint of blue. It looks so good. I had to make another piece for my bathroom, so here we are, creating another grayscale piece of artwork with some blue mixed in. And of course, more cats. Originally, when I was going to make this a colorful piece, I was thinking about having rainbows spilling out of the clouds in the background, but because I wanted to focus on a grayscale image with blue complementary colors, we just have some blue gooped out of the clouds. Now, the approach with the goop on this cloud is a little weird. The left one just looks like it's pouring out, but the right cloud actually is melting as well into the drip. Again, does it make sense? No, but it kind of looks cool, and I can forgive it as long as it looks cool. I did struggle a little bit with our cat in the bottom right corner. Its ears were being covered by two big drips, and I wasn't sure how to work around that. I played around with the ears being shifted on the drip. I tried to move the cat around, but in the end, I just decided, you know what? Let the goops cover the cat. And I think it looks fine. And yes, because I know you're wondering, does that cat have 5 legs? Absolutely it does. I did it on purpose because I thought it was silly. So like I mentioned earlier, I didn't have enough paint for my sky and things were looking a little textured. So I added a bunch of stars and now you can't even see the texture of the paint. Now it just looks like a bunch of pretty stars in the sky. And it also really inspired me to create even more texture throughout this piece. This piece has a lot of different textures. The stars in the sky are very clustery. Our little hill in the background has big little circles on it. Big little circles, And our grass in the foreground has flowers in it, which is kind of funny because this style flower, we like to call that the fried egg flower. But I made it blue. Is it still a fried egg? It actually looks like the eyes on the cat on the bottom right corner. Are they eyeball flowers now? Are they still fried egg flowers? Either way, I absolutely love the overlapping texture where these stars in the sky go over the hill, the grass and the flowers going over our cat and dripping off of the canvas. I think this piece turned out fun. If you look too close, you will notice the clay is very lumpy and dodgy looking, but I didn't make this piece to look at from a microscope. So just stand a couple feet back and it looks amazing. I love it. And that's that. So I see you made it to the end of the video. Can I be honest with you? When I intro the video with my face, I feel like I also have to outro the video with my face, but like I have nothing to add because I already talked a bunch. So now I'm just kind of like here. So thanks for watching, guys. I did this. Okay, bye. Oh boy, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and a huge thank you to my patrons for their monthly support. You guys are the best. If you want early access to these videos, secret sketches, live streams, and more, check out the link to my Patreon in the description. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.